today I wanted to do a quick discussion about the upcoming season of Delta Force now that we know everything that we're going to get in terms of new content when that season releases on April 21st. So if you didn't get a chance to catch the dev stream on Saturday, I made a video recap of it, going through everything that we can expect in the new season of Delta Force, as well as some extra little tidbits of information here and there. So there'll be a card up in the top right corner. So basically we're getting one new operator, 2 new weapons, albeit it's kind of like 3 because we're also getting a flamethrower, which is counted as a gadget, but we don't yet know which class that's going into. We're also getting a new vehicle as well as a new operator, Nox. So all of this stuff, you know, pretty much everybody's already aware of all this. Now, the kicker with this new season is there are no new maps launching with the Eclipse Vigil season, which is unfortunately kind of a letdown because overall, as far as content goes, the biggest thing for a game like this is map variety. And currently in Warfare, we only have 7 maps. And then in Operations, it's something like, what, 5 or 6, I think? Now, there will be some form of a new experience for Operations because they're adding nighttime mode to Zero Dam. But that's just one map. And as far as I can tell, they didn't talk about having nighttime mode in Warfare. So it's going to keep the map pool exactly the same as we have it now, 7 maps. And they didn't even touch on whether there's going to be like a map ban feature that you can like select a map that you don't want to have in the rotation when you're getting queued into Warfare. So basically everything is kind of staying as is. Now obviously they're hard at work on the mobile version of the game as well as the console version, plus some other stuff like controller support and all that. But all this being said, the season feels somewhat underwhelming. Now granted, I haven't gotten my hands on any of it, but from what they showed in the dev stream, it just feels like it's very light on content. Obviously you're going to have the season pass, which you can work towards, as well as the ranked grind, so to speak, if you want to make your way back to Marshall to get some unique badge for the season. But despite that, there's just not a whole lot for people to actually sink their teeth into in terms of new stuff. So yeah, obviously the operator is nice. You know, people are going to probably find their new favorite operator who's going to get played over and over again. But for the players that might not really enjoy the new operator or the 2 new weapons that we're getting, so the K4-37 and the double barrel shotgun, there's just not much else there for them to experience that they didn't already get to experience in the previous season. Granted, player numbers, as far as we can see on the Steam charts, don't seem to be declining that much. It seems to always be oscillating around 87 to 90 something thousand players. Now I have absolutely no clue whether a lot of these accounts are just botted or they're boosting your numbers by some means, and I'm not looking into getting into that discussion. But will the content for this season be enough to, 1, keep players around, or 2, bring back players that have stopped playing? So if you look right now on your friends list in Delta Force, how many people are playing? When I play Delta Force, for the most part, there's maybe 1 or 2 of my friends that are actively playing on any given day. Other than that, the rest of the friends list is, you know, gone. They haven't been playing the game. They haven't played it in months because there's just not that much to do. You know, they've experienced everything that the game had to offer. Despite them maybe enjoying the overall game loop, a lot of the maps kind of are a little bit rough around the edges, to say it lightly. So for Warfare, you know, there's just nothing to keep them around. Now obviously we haven't gotten the patch notes yet. There might be a lot of balancing changes that we can expect with the launch of the new season, but I would have expected them to maybe touch on that a little bit in the dev stream. Same thing for quality of life improvements. Nothing about this, so I had a lot of things that I would like to see changed in Delta Force. So, you know, more HUD customization options, the option to ban a map so you're not playing the same map over and over again in Warfare. Certain things like improved squad leader, improved squad cohesion, giving out orders and stuff like that to have just a sense of direction on a squad per squad basis. And those are just a few examples of, I think, quick wins they could have done during the season rather than just launching update after update of events, so to speak, that are basically just skins that people can buy or earn in game. That, you know, just kind of rubbed me the wrong way when, you know, I'm glad to support Delta Force when they're releasing new content, but when all those updates are just very minor balance changes to like 1 weapon or 2, and then the rest is just skins that you can purchase, it feels kind of bad to encourage those type of updates when they could be, you know, putting a lot of work into improving the overall quality of the game, not necessarily content-wise, but just these little changes that could make a world of difference in terms of player appreciation and keeping players engaged because they see that the game is going in the right direction, while simultaneously, you know, providing the players with options to help support the game further. Now, granted, towards the end of the dev stream, they did talk about 2 new maps that are coming, so one for Operations, one for Warfare. No date on when we can expect those maps, maybe mid-season, maybe more towards the end. So there was the prison map for Operations and then the island map for Warfare, but still, that's just 2 maps, one for each mode, bringing the total to 8 in Warfare, and then, like, I guess it would be 7 in Operations, albeit I'm not 100% on that count because I don't really play Operations, but it still is very, very few maps compared to other games in the combined arms genre have, generally speaking, a lot more maps to offer to keep the game variety just changing all the time and keeping players engaged. And obviously you're going to have those maps that you never like and you don't want to play, so if you have just one of those in Delta Force, then it brings the overall map pool down to 6. I don't know about you guys, but Knife Edge is not my cup of tea, so if I get put into a round of Knife Edge, for the most part, I might leave the game. So that brings down my overall map pool to 6, and then on some occasions, I don't get to play a map for a whole evening of gaming because there's just no system in place to prevent that type of behavior. So I know this video might come off as a little bit ranty overall. I don't want it to sound that way. I just want Delta Force to, you know, live up to its potential that it can have. It can take a large part of the market, especially considering that there's no cost to entry for the game as opposed to something like a Battlefield title, which is a premium title that comes at the premium cost. They just need to bring it to that next level in terms of content, features, and game mechanics. Now we'll obviously get a better picture of what's happening with the next season with the patch notes, see if there's balance changes, because there's a lot of things that I know are annoying a lot of people in Delta Force. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see until we can read those patch notes and see if they fixed any of the lingering issues that have persisted since the launch of the game. But yeah, overall, from what I gather so far, the next season seems to be a little bit of a letdown, even less content than we got in the previous season, and I just don't see people sticking around that long once they've gotten, you know, the enjoyment out of the new operator, the few new weapons that we have, and even the new vehicle. All that being said, let me know what you think about all this in the comment section down below. Are you excited for the new season? Are you kind of on a split on, you know, kind of excited, but there's just not much to do? In any case, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.